Tractate Bava Metzia, page 79. This is something that can happen all the time. You're renting a cab, a van, a personal assistant, and that person driving you in the middle of the road, God forbid, is an accident or something happened to a car. The question is, what exactly the interaction as far as the paying the fare is concerned? You hire someone to take you from destination A to destination B. For example, from United States with his plane to, just an example, South America, and in the middle of the flying something happened, you need to land somewhere, and you're stuck there. Is any obligation to pay and what? Or if you're renting, or if you're having a car or renting a car, in the middle of the road something happened, how exactly you treated the leftover? Or if it's a car that you basically have an agreement of some type of lease, can you use that as to sell that product and go ahead and use it for the rest of the fare? Can you request it to have the payment for the end? What exactly the level of risk involved with payment for each party? And soon you see there's a lot of practical halachot. Obviously we have to remember the historical context. We are here with the text of Talmud that it's about 1800 years ago. Page 79, 11 lines from the top of the page. אמר רבא בר אבונה אמר רב, הסוחר את החמור לרכוב עליה, ומתה לו בחצי הדרך. Those days, you're renting a donkey, and I'm just using numbers that it's current, right? Let's say $500. All of a sudden, in the middle of the road, the donkey collapsed. So נותן לו שכרו של חצי הדרך. He pays what? The half, 250. ואין לו עליו אלא תרעומות. The only thing you ever complain, it's called תרעומות, which means grievance. Now, you remember several days ago, we mentioned the great Rav Yisrael Salanter. Rav Salanter was the great rabbi and teacher from the Musar movement. He said that one fellow should not have a grievance against his fellow in his heart. And it's based on the Torah law. But here, the reason is, money is no monetary claim. By heavenly court, we don't know. But the bad feelings, grievance, yes. Hey Chedame, let's elaborate on that. If you tell me that this place, that the original donkey passed away, there are other available donkeys to rent. Tar'omot my avidete. Now remember, it's not the donkey, it's the concept, right? So what is the purpose of the grievance? You can find another one and go ahead. But if there's no other donkey available to rent, agra ba'e lemeitav lei. So he require to give the owner his fee. Why? Because the donkey failed to perform the task that he was rented for. So the Gemara said, Le'olam de lo shachiach le'agurei. Here we talk about the location, the donkey not available for rent. Mishum de amar lei, the owner can say to the leasee, the renter, Ilu ba'it lemeitav ad hacha, if I wanted to reach this point, which is half away, lav agra ba'e lemeitav, don't you have to pay whatever it is up to this point? Now, the reality is, he took him for entire journey, not part. Also, he cannot find another donkey, so why you requested him to pay at all? Tosfot have several explanations. One of them, the first one is we are talking about exact price that he rent the donkey. And for that price, he cannot find others. But if you're willing to pay more money, there is a possibility to find another donkey. So since he already derived benefit from that donkey by having the ride for half a way, so therefore that's the reason why I impose upon him the 250, the half of the price for the journey. But if he cannot, if it was a real story like that, that is no other donkey available, etc., so then it's a different story. In general, for example, if the driver said to him, you wanted to do, for example, certain business, and you told me you don't care which city it is, you prefer to, for me to take you, for example, from Washington to California, because you want to sell your product in California. We stuck here in the middle of the Iowa, right? So guess what? You can sell your product in Iowa. It's not that you didn't do, you halfway through. So that's one school of thought. If you remember, several days ago, on page 76b, we dealt with interdynamic between employer-employee, even the situation that that there are cases that neither party can back out. So as far as money is concerned, you cannot ask for money, but the whole concept of grievance, it is applied, because, for example, the owner, if you remember, he need now to, in the middle of the day, to search to find other employees. You are stuck with work in the middle of the, don't you remember a situation like that? You hire a contractor, he's not doing a great job, or he find another job that pay more. He left the site in the middle of the work, and now you stuck to find someone else to do the job instead. So the idea of grievance is always there, in a sense that people complain about behavior of other people.
The ones that say that you could just sell the product where you are. The case was that they could have sold the product where they ended up halfway there. Then why would they even bother to travel all the way to the rest of the
That's the argument. But he was.
I mean, and then plus you don't. I mean, the value obviously may not be the same there than it would be.
I hear what you said, but there are two concepts we need to know. One concept is the monetary claim. Reuven wants money from Shimon over lost or potential earning, or for some damage that he caused him. Or Reuven refused to pay money to Shimon for certain services. There is in a way, total different concept that is called grievance. And the way that we see in Jewish law, one person should not have a grievance or bad feeling toward another. So what we try to conceptualize is the two, how they intermingle, because there are some cases that as much as you have a grievance against the other fellow, but getting money out of him, it's a different story. So that's the key discussion. Hey Chedami, what exactly we're talking here? Ide amar li chamor stam. Again, it's like you go to, let's say, a rental car. You said, I want, for example, BMW, right? BMW, we all know there are so many, right? The 3 lines, the 5 lines, the 7 lines, right? The with I, with X, with sports utilities, with all kind of things. You just, what?
6 lines,
whatever it is. Whatever it is, there is a certain line, but if you said, I want BMW, you call the rental company, says, I want BMW. So it's a general statement, right? Here, lehavdil, but it's the same concept. You said, I want a donkey. Okay? So there are many and different quality. So if he didn't say, hachayav le'amid lo chamor acher, so he needs to replace the donkey that passed away with another one. Why? Because it wasn't specified what type of donkey he commit himself. And the whole goal is, Rabbi Yonatan said, is just to bring the customer from one destination to another. So therefore, he needs to provide all the needs, all the animals, and needed. The Ramban said, if he's not providing him something substitute, the fellow who rented doesn't have the obligation to pay him at all. Not at all, right? The reality is, it can happen not just in car rental, but you're unhappy with your car. So the general policy, at least in this country, right? So they need to pay to give you a substitute whatever you are, right? But the reality is, in many countries in the world, it's not. The rental policy is different, right? So either Amar le chamor ze, if he said to him, I want this specific BMW, right? This is exactly what I want. And that's different. In those days, he said, I want this donkey to ride from one location to another, which is...
I don't think all the BMW fans out there will be happy with you comparing their BMW to a donkey.
Just remember, in those days, donkey was an expensive proposition.
Absolutely.
Right,
Absolutely.
and it's nice that it's BMW over any other make of car. Reason.
Right.
So they should be.
אם יש בדמיה לקח, ייקח. If the money of the caresses donkey, he can get a substitute, he should do it. So why Rav hold that the lisi, the one who get it, needs to pay only a half, and the only thing he has is a grievance? So the Gemara said, tzricha. The reality is, we do need it. Why? לא צריכה שאין דמיה לקח. So here we have to say that it's because what? It's not the money that left from that caresses, from that dead animal, it's not sufficient to get another one, which is he needs to use his own money to complete his journey. So therefore, meaning the lessee, needs to pay the owner the $250 for using the previous live donkey half of the journey. Again, for those who come late, the journey value for the travel with the journey value is 500, and half away, so it's 250. So the Gemara asks, אם יש בדמיה לזכור, יזכור. So if the money from that leftover, for example, leftover car, it's called in Hebrew guta'ah, leftover, or in here it's the dead body of the donkey. If that can be, they sell it to, as a meat or whatever it is, you sell it for some values, and you can use it, yizkor. So it means, why Rav said that he needs to pay only half, and the only claim the owners have is a grievance, but not monetary claim. So the Gemara said, Rav letamei da'amar Rav lo mechalinan karna. Rav has his own reasoning. He hold that they cannot fully deplete the principle. Just because you need to pay the rental, it's not give you the right to sell the full caress dead animal, because to deplete the entire amount of money is not permissible. The itmar, הסוחר את החמור ומת לו בחצי הדרך, אמר רב אם יש בדמיה לקח ייקח, לסחור אל יזכור, ושמואל אמר אף לזכור יזכור. Here you have a disputation between Rav and Shmuel, one who rents donkey and he died half away through the journey. So according to Rav, he differentiates between selling and renting. He says if you can take the caress, the value of the dead animal in carcass, and you buy another donkey as a substitute, you can do it. But if you want to take the dead body in order to rent another donkey, so basically that's not permissible. You have to give him a half of the journey, and the only thing left is the grievance. Versus Shmuel said, even if there is enough money to be gained from the sale, only for the dead body to rent another donkey, so he may rent one. B'maika mifligi Rav Savar lo mechalian karna, u'Shmuel Savar mechalian karna. Here is the difference the Ritva explains between the two. According to Rav, one cannot deplete the principle in order to cover that. And Shmuel said you can deplete in total the principle for the rental, for the the Ritva elaborates and said, if you can have a chance to buy a substitute for the dead donkey, and by doing so you can save the principle, so you can do it. So in short, it's only by force of circumstance if you have no other choice. But intentionally to deplete the entire amount is prohibited. That's the way Rav hold. Meiti ve'yaveh shelanu niktzat shnehem asurin bo. Here we talk about a tree that was given as a loan, as we study Mashkanta de Surah. So the tree died up or was cut down. It is prohibited for both the borrower and the lender to use the body of the tree. And the lender can, כיצד יעשה? ילקח בו קרקע והוא אוכל פירות. So you can purchase a land and the lender can use the produce that come out of the field until the completion of the mortgage time. So the Gemarrah asks, והאחה כיוון דכי מתי יובל כהדרה ארעה למראה. So the reality is we follow the 7 times 7, the Jubilee. When the Jubilee year occurred at the midst of the mortgage term, the estate that was purchased with the money of the tree needs to return to the original owner, and the borrower do not have any benefit, which means the original money depleted. Here you talk about a case where the purchases of field for the 60 years. So that's the precondition. It's not returned in the Jubilee year. How do you know that if someone sells his estate for 60 years, is not returned in Jubilee year? The Torah said in Leviticus 21 that the land is not allowed to be sold for perpetuity. Mi she'en sham yovel, so nitzmetet. Yes, sham yovel then nitzmetet. If it's a Jubilee year, so there can be a perpetuity. But if it's not, the moment that you have a Jubilee, it's returned to its owner. Yatztazu, this is the exception, when it says sold for 60 years. She'af al pi she'en sham yovel eina nitzmetet. That even though there is no Jubilee year, it is not sold in perpetuity. So basically this is a fact that the Braita did not contradict what Rav said. So eventually when you have the completion of the 60 years, the estate will return to its owner, and basically this will be a depleted of the principle. So if you remember when we study Erkin, page 32b, we learn that the whole idea of Jubilee apply when the entire 12 tribe of Israel dwell in the land, each in his own part, follow the book of Chronicles, chapter 5. So the moment you have 2.5 tribes that go to the east side of the Jordan River, there is a view that the Jubilee is not ineffective. If you remember when we study Tractate Gittin, page 36, we learned that is a disputation if the Jubilee during the second temple, when some representative of each tribe return to the land, if at that time it's applicable. But since we said that the owner, the original owner, will never have the field back, So it means that the principal returned to the borrower at the completion of the mortgage time. הכנה ממסתברא לעסק הלתך בזמן שיובל נועל ומחלן קרנה, נצלחי לציווי ונשקלי. So basically the lender simply cut the tree in 2 branches, use it for kindling, and take it and sell it right away. So the Gemarrah said, if that's the original, the only reason that you don't deplete the principal, lo kashya zimnin deshalmul shnei mashkanta mikamei yovel. It happens that 4 or 5 years prior to the jubilee is the completion of the mortgage. Inamei de matulei zuzei, that the borrower find a way to pay off money. Uparik le 4 ו5 שנים mikamei yovel, that he paid off what he owes the mortgage 4 or 5 years prior to jubilee year. So basically the borrower derived benefit from this estate before the jubilee completed. So therefore Rav cannot prove his view from this brayta. Tanu Rabbanan. Now we talk about subject that I'm sure the boating community will appreciate. Here we're talking about renting boat, right? We are in a boating city, right? תנו רבנן, הסוחר את הספינה וטבעה לה בחצי הדרך. You rent a large boat to transfer items like import-export business, and it travel, and half of the journey something happened, and boom, it's over. So they said, רבי נתן אומר, אם נתן לא ייטול, ואם לא נתן לא ייתן. He said, if it already paid in advance the owner of the boat, so even in full, he will not collect back his money. But if he did not pay yet, he does not have the obligation of to pay, because that's what we call yad hatovea, the claimant al hatachtona. Hey Chedame, explain to me what exactly the circumstance here. Ileima besfina zo. If it's this particular boat and the renter said that it was transporting unspecified wine, yain stam, im natana ma lo yitol, so why will not collect what he owe him? Neimale havlis finta, da'ana maitinan chamra, bring me back the boat that I can transport wine, and if you cannot do it, refund the rental fee so I can rent another boat. So the Pitchei Choshen said, based on that, the whole concept of renting, for example, renting a truck, and something happened in the middle of the road, we can derive halachic decisions based on this Gemara. But anyway, ela besfina stam, which means it wasn't specified a specific boat. Ve'yain ze, specified a specific wine. Im lo natan amai lo yiten. If he did not give the money, why should not give the owner the rental fee? Page 79b, Neimalei havli au chamra va'ana ma'itinan sfinta. Bring back wine and I'll give you back the boat. Based on that, the Tur in Choshen Mishpat 3:11 have a discussion. Number one, that if you're asked to bring specific merchandise, you cannot bring something else. And he elaborates on the concept of kofin alav midat dom. Anyway, Amar Rav Papa lo mashkachan. It's a disputation among the early Rishonim over a whole this subject. Rav Papa lo mashkachat la ela besfina zo veyain ze. You have to say that all of that apply when it is specific boat and specific wine, because neither party can fulfill his part of the agreement. The money remains where it is. That's the way Tosfot explained. Aval besfina stam yain stam cholkim. When we have unspecified boat, unspecified wine, they basically divide, the renter pays a half. תנו רבנן הסוחר את הספינה ופרקה לה בחצי הדרך, נותן לו שכרו של חצי הדרך, ונעלה אל התרעומת. So again, the same case, Reuven rent a boat from Shimon to travel from one location to another. And at the middle of the journey, the rental fellow decided to unload the merchandise in one of the port cities. So therefore, he needs to pay half away, and only the owner have the grievance. What exactly you're talking here? Idleima de kamashkachat la agura amai itlei taromet. If he they rent out the boat, why does he have a grounds for grievance? And kulei agra ba'e leshalumei, he should require to pay the full rental fee because he basically reneged on his commitment to rent the boat for the entire trip. לעולם דקמשכח לאגורה, אלא המית לתרעומת משום רפסת דספינתה, because you have which we call maybe a wear and tear. So by the first rental fellow pulling out, bringing him, ihachi ta'antam me'al yaltai. If that's the case, you have a real proper legal claim, and the owner of the boat not merely a grievance against the renter. So he said, umamona itlegabei, that he's really owe him. So the Ritva said, if you refuse to pay him, he's not allowed to pull out, to unload the material from the boat. Elamai parkal defrakal letoanei begavei. So what does that mean? That he basically take the extra loaded that he have in the middle of the road, he put it in the boat in order to add it to his materials. So therefore, mishum shinui da'ata, because he changed from the renter prior intention. So therefore, inami la'ashla yetera, you have the extra rope that was necessary for the service, additional cargo. That's the way Rashi said. The Prisha, the Tosfot Rabbeinu Peretz and others have a different explanation. Tanu Rabbanan. הסוחר את החמור לרכוב עליה, סוחר מניח עליה כסותו ולגינותו ומזונות של כל אותה הדרך. So you renting it, you have the right as a renter to place garment, water jug, food for your journey, even if it is a travel for several days. That's the way Rashi in Avodah Zarah 68 said. Excuse me, the Meir elaborates that if it's a big load on a donkey, you still allow, because that's the reason you pay the rent for. מכאן ואילך חמר מעכב עליו. From this and onward, the owner of the donkey can refuse it. חמר מניח עליו סורים ותבן ומזונותיו של אותו היום. מכאן ואילך סוחר מעכב עליו. So you allow that particular day, but beyond this item, the renter may prevent him from placing anything on the animal. הכדמי. אידה משכח למזבן. When is food available to purchase, chamar nami le'akev. So also the owner of the donkey can prevent the renter fellow from uploaded more than one day of food. Ve'lo shchiach lemizban, socher nami lo le'akev. But if it's not available to purchase, the renter should also not be able to prevent the donkey driver from loading on the donkey his own food for the entire journey. אמר רב פאפא לא צריכה לשכיח למטרח ולמזבן מאבנה לאבנה, which means that in every place that they load doing this journey, you can find someone who can purchase these מזונות. חמר דרכי למטרח ולמזבן, סוחר לאו דרכי למטרח ולמזבן. So here the reality is that the donkey driver have this nature that he goes to trouble to purchase food, so he can load the animal only with food for that day, versus the renter, it's not a matter that he go trouble, so therefore he may take food with him for the entire journey. The Rambam in Chos Churut, chapter 4 said it's even the place that it's not the minhag to do it, but in general we always go by the minhag hamakom. Rambam said, Tanu Rabbanan, הסוחר את החמור לרכוב עליה איש, לא תרכב עליה אישה, אישה רוכב עליה איש. So here בין גדולה בין קטנה ואפילו מעוברת ואפילו מניקה. So obviously the idea is that Shema in Choshen Mishpat Shin Aleph explains that here we talk about the weight. So the Gemara asks, Hashta menika amart mu'beret mibaya? Since you already talk about the nursing woman from riding upon a donkey, despite the fact that it's involved the weight of 2 people. So is it necessary to say that the pregnant woman can ride a donkey? So the Gemara said, Amar Rav Papa muberet vehi minika, it's a combination of both. Amar Rabbi Yeishma mina beinita akreisa takala. So he said that it's a weight increases according to the size of its belly. Lemay nafkamina lemeikach umimkar, for buying and selling, that's the nafkamina, so that one can know how to evaluate the weight of a fish and calculate its value accordingly. So large one, it's just the intestine. That usually, if you remember those days, that you go to this shop and buy fish, and they pull out the intestines. So you don't buy it by weight until they pull out the intestine.